Hi, welcome to my channel, Reader Woman. My name's Judy, and let's talk Regency Romances. When I found myself in 2020 not really being able to focus and concentrate on any of the books that I had been planning on reading, I decided that I would go back to Regency Romances. As a kid, I don't know how old, but I got a little set of Georgette Heyer, Regency Romances. So I was probably reading her anywhere from between 10 to 12, somewhere in there. And I absolutely I still love her books. Her Regency Romances, let me put it that way. I'm not that thrilled with her murder mysteries. They're a little too harsh for my taste. I'm more of a cozy murder mystery person. So yeah, I thought, hey, I can't read anything else. Let's read Georgette Heyer. Now, before we really get into it, I want to explain a little something about Regency Romance. I mean, everybody always thinks Jane Austen. And while Jane Austen was definitely read the quintessential Regency Romance stories, novels, she was writing about her own time. She wasn't setting it in a specific, moment of history or nothing like that. She was writing about her world and through her particular lens. Granted, they normally ended up with happy endings for the characters that we were invested in. I don't think anyone ever thought that Charlotte Lucas ever ended up happily married, outside of just the fact that she was married. But the whole point I'm trying to make is authors who have since written what's considered Regency Romances have actually had to, I've come to understand it. It's kind of like sci-fi. You have to recreate. You have to create your own world. And that's what Georgette Heyer did with brilliance. And I think with a brilliance that is unmatched, at least that I've come across. I've never read a Regency Romance author who comes close to her general brilliance. And I think it is unfortunate, but in fact, I heard a historian, I can't remember her name, I was going to look her up, Lucy something or other. I started watching her on YouTube. She had all these pretty cool little documentaries that somebody was posting on their YouTube channel. Lucy something or other. She's written a book about Jane Austen, Queen Victoria. I just can't think of her last name. I'll put it down below. But she did a little romance series. And she claimed that the first modern Regency Romance author was Barbara Cartland, which I call bullshit on. Barbara Cartland all she was doing was rewriting Georgette Heyer. And there's a lot of people out there that agree with me on that. And anyways, I just want to say that she was the best. She did massive research at libraries. She lived in London, so she had access to all of these amazing libraries and museums. She just coded herself in the era, the cant terms, so she created this world. And I think we all kind of live there, if you like Regency Romances. So I was like, okay, I'm now an e-reader person. What am I going to do? And I knew it was going to be expensive. and that's going to be a video coming up on how do you actually afford to read on your e-reader. But for today, we're talking Regency Romance. I decided that I was going to purchase Georgette Heyer's books and put it on my Kindle so I'd have it long term. I have reread her books for 50 years, over and over and over again. And I thought it would be a great joy to have that and to be able to continue rereading in a new format. Because, let me show you. Granted, this is one of the worst ones, but my copy of the Grand Sophie is basically in pieces. I carefully tuck them away and, you know, don't lose a page. That's probably the worst. We have, you know, these old shades, still in really good shape. So, you know, it's starting to come apart, but pretty good for the age of the book. So I decided if I were going to do that, I was going to start from the very beginning, which is the Black Moth, her first Regency kind of Georgian romance, but we're not going to get into that much of specifics. And I downloaded it. I downloaded a sample, or they were, because I was looking at a review of it, and they were saying that the text had a lot of mistakes in it. And I was like, So I think I downloaded, I don't remember exactly what I did, but I got it, and I couldn't read it. For like quotations, it would be quotation plus this weird ampersand and other characters, and then you'd have the text. And so much of her work is talking, and it was illegible. It was ridiculous how bad it was. I looked it up. A new company had gained rights to her work and had republished in, you know, print form, and had also done a digital copy. And at that point I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm not going to buy these things. They're pieces of crap. I actually wrote the publishing company telling them about the problem. I don't think they did a damn thing about it. So I was quite upset about it, I have to say. And I didn't know exactly where to go. And I thought, well, let me just give it a try. And I started reading Regency Romances. And I have, in the last couple of years, read a lot of Regency Romances. It's a mixed bag. You have the name brands, some of whom I just can't stand. You have non-name brands that are, I think, quite good, but that's my opinion, not other people's. You have the self-published world. And I ended up spending way too much money buying Regency Romances. Unfortunately, that's the case. Because I have to say, as a digital reader with modern romances, it is really tough not to spend a lot of money. I found Mary Bellow. I found Suzanne, Enoch. Julia Quinn, Eloisa James, and a few others. And what I found was they're good-ish. Modern romance, for the most part, is soft porn. They're just getting you to a point where the characters are having sex. The beginning of Julia Quinn's Bridgerton series was the first book that I encountered, actually, that gave more of a story. It started in a way that was it was well written. Let me put it that way. It was well written. It starts with the Duke's father, and how the Duke's father came to hate his son, and how his son grew up under this, not just, with his father ignoring him, but his father bullying him and actively hating him. And it started there, and it was like a light bulb went off. Oh my God, this is what I've been missing. And I have to say, while I enjoy some of her books, I don't enjoy all of them. I did read all in the Bridgerton series. And I think overall she does a good job. I prefer some characters more than others. And I will come back because obviously I am on top of it. 2 years later, I'm going to be coming back talking about Bridgerton and comparing the book to the series. But yeah, because I'm on it, baby. Her, as well as Eloisa James, I have come to understand I have to be careful on what I do read. Mary Ballow, I pretty much have read everything that's digitally published. I really haven't done her short stories much, although she does have small collections of short stories. And there's been a few of those I just haven't been able to read. I enjoy her modern, the ones that she's currently writing. But what I've discovered with authors who have any length of time in the writing business is be careful before you buy, because their early work can be not good. It may not appeal to you in the same way that their current literature does, their current fiction. So I now, if I'm looking at either a new author or an older work from an author I do like, I will get the sample, and I highly recommend you doing it. I was shocked at how much I had spent on books. So I am now a Kindle Unlimited person, which means you have, you have Georgette Heyer at the very top. You have these other authors, really what I would consider middle of the road. I enjoy them, but they're middle of the road. And then the Kindle Unlimited, for the most part, they're down here with a little jump up. There's 2 or 3 authors I really enjoy. And I will come back with their names and have more of talk about them. But for the most part, when you're reading Kindle Unlimited, you just have to be prepared to DNR. And I don't care if it's, just regular romance, modern romance, whether it's Regency Romance, any kind of current fiction. Their selection, they do have a couple of really good books. I have to give them that. But that is not the majority of the books that Kindle Unlimited has. And there are just authors I cannot read. And some of it is because they're very poor writers. Some of it, some that I do read, like Mary Kingsworth, I don't remember. You don't want to write it down anyways. she has a good plot line, but she has no idea of tempo or, you know, building something up. It's like her whole book is this, you know, limited interest that lasts for the entirety of the book. And I have read a lot of her works. I am not always sure why. Until I remember, yes, Judy, you're a Kindle Unlimited reader. You have a very limited selection, because that is the place where self-published authors get an opportunity to try and find an audience. And I think that's fine. But you've got to go through a lot of crap in order to find a piece of gold. One last word on that. If you are a Kindle Unlimited person and you're just starting out with that, just go ahead and download the book. Don't do a sample. It doesn't matter. You can just send it back if you don't want to read it. But the one thing I've really noticed with authors, if they're giving one book away of a series that the other part of the series you've got to buy, that one book is probably worth downloading and reading, because they're trying to suck you in. And I have found some authors that I definitely would recommend about that. So I'm going to leave you there with that thought. Regency Romance. I'm going to come back and mention and talk about a few authors at a time. And also I have gotten into some modern romance. It's not exactly my jam, but there's definitely, when it contains humor, you kind of got me. So anyways, I realize this is a limited interest, and that's okay. That's okay, because right now we're just trying to survive. If you have any favorite authors in the Regency Romance genre, please let me know. And anyways, I look forward to talking more about romance, of all things. Anyways, take care, and we'll talk again soon. Keep reading. Bye.